a man will look for a woman that doesn't have anything when he's acquired everything, usually because men want to give what they have acquired. That's just the whole purpose of getting it. When a woman has it, and she wants to fix, first of all, when a woman really got it, she don't want to fix her upper. That most times, right? That's one thing. She, you know what I'm saying? But if she does find a fixer upper, come on now, she be dragging him through the mud.
Exactly. I
Talking
feel like
crazy to him when he gets it. Like,
sometimes I think it's about the control. That's what I was trying to say about the other situation. Like even a woman finding somebody who has low self-esteem, like what are you going to do with that person? You're going to feel above that person. Like that person isn't even really going to give you what you need. So you're going to walk all over them. Like it's about control in these situations.
I think there's crazy that there's people that have low standards with high expectations, right? And that's the problem that I have. So
That's a conversation.
So when you have the low standards, so you want the ugly dude, but you want to have the high expectations of this ugly dude to be able to fulfill all the things that the dude that you really want, it's like blasphemy because it doesn't make sense. It's literally a contradictful way of being, and that's why they don't find success in these relationships. We need to look at our entirety, the situation in its entirety, right? If a guy you've been talking to a guy or a girl for a couple months and they've been acting a little wild for a week or two, like that's not when you just start to jump out the window and be like, okay, I'm a sex object because 8 at the table said so, right? You need to look at everything that has transpired, not just the most recent thing. And I think that's what also happens too, right? We get caught up in what has transpired in the last week or two, and we think that that's going to shape our relationship because people have installed fear in us of like what we, have been accepting once now is going to be happening for a bunch of, time frame going forward. But realistically, not all the time it happens if they've demonstrated different behaviors. So, but what's another low self?
Well, this ties in with what we were just talking about, but compromising your needs. That was something that I saw online. That
Yeah, it's one of the signs that you're consistently compromising what you want, what you need, and just prioritizing the person wholly. That means then you don't even exist anymore. You're living wholly for another person.
Yeah,
That's a bad thing.
Wholly?
of course it is.
No,
That's my
but
key.
but
My
you
kids.
yeah, but you have your own identity. You're still your own person,
And
right?
you still got to
Yeah, I don't
take
even
care of
want that.
yourself before you take care of anybody else. If you're not good, how you going to take care of your kids?
Right. So
Yeah, I don't want to be nobody's world. I can't. It's too heavy. But what I will say is another thing of low standards, when you have low standards, is when you are the only one going to that person, right? If I gotta come to you every time, you don't really want me that bad. And this goes on both sides, women and men. If I've been coming to your house for the last 2 weeks, find your way to my house for this week. You know what I'm saying? You need to have to be able to. It falls under compromising, but I'm just being more, specific. You have to be able to show that you're willing to, pursue me as much as I'm pursuing you. You have to reciprocate. And if reciprocity is not, happening within this dynamic that we have, and I'm accepting it, that's when I should really do some reflection and self-reflecting and say, hey, guess what? I might have low, standards because I'm allowing somebody to not reciprocate all the energy or all the love that I'm actually pouring into this person, which I think is the biggest thing for
It
resentment.
is. Honestly, even in like simple communication, like why do I have to get up and tell you good morning every day? Like,
Yeah.
why am I not waking up to a single good morning text? Like, or
That's
maybe
a fact.
you get
though.
up first.
or like even, come on, girl, no. And even like when we're talking, like, why am I asking you all the questions? You ever realize you
Doing all the work.
yeah,
Mhm.
like we're in simple conversation. What are you doing? How was your day? Or like, what are you doing later? And they don't ask you those questions back. They don't care. They don't care about what you're doing or what you got going on.
But they don't know how to express it.
They don't know how to talk. I've seen
That's
dudes
whack.
that
These are simple questions.
Yeah, that's pretty simple. How was your day? Oh, my day was this.
How about
this,
you?
this.
Like
How about you?
that's so easy.
yeah, but the thing is, like, it's not.
I don't know.
It's not.
That's low
What?
standard. It's like, yo,
It's
I'm
low
not
people.
saying-
No, she's not talking about that.
I'm
but
just saying that's an
consistently.
example of someone not, showing you.
Interest in you.
Yeah.
or like interested in what you got going on or day.
Right.
Like when there was a big thing that was going viral, and it was like women don't ask men like, "What'd you eat today?" Right, which basically shows just a lack of consideration
That's one of my
for
favorite
the
questions.
working man's day. You said what?
I said that's one of my favorite questions.
You see what I'm saying? But like you probably
He's
learned
a
that.
caretaker.
I'm about to say no. She learned that from the game. She like, you know what? I'm gonna
The
put the
game.
game into my pocket, and I'm about to win. I'm gonna win. Yo, let me show him how I'm different. So, what'd you eat today?
Ah.
Oh, what? You really care? Like, you really care? Now he opens your door. Reciprocity.
But what if you're chilling with somebody, right? And it's just like everything is on you. And she's
Yeah.
just like, yo, look, I like you. Like, I legit. I always think the tone somebody talks with you is when you know you're lowering your standards. And I think that's what people don't know. See, the guy or the woman that made you wait 10, the guy or the woman that made you wait 10 hours, you know what the funny thing is? They're gonna be like, oh my bad, yo. Been here since yo, da, 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 da. Right? No, but just listen. Or she's gonna be like, yo, listen to the tone, right? But what I'm saying is like, don't you really realize when you lowering your standard is the tone somebody talks to you?
Oh, that's great. Because two of on our list is being disrespectful
It's
and
not even being disrespectful. It's almost like being dismissive. And I don't-
dismissed or
I have an
dismissed.
issue.
and I don't say this in no sense of pride, right? I'm saying this like I know I could be like, go. I'm like go find something else to do.
Isn't
Right?
that a lack of respect for the person?
is a lack of-
It's not a
it
lack
is.
of respect. It's almost like you're telling the person, at least from my perspective, you don't really gotta fuck with me. You got a lot of options if you go look for them. You're the only one who don't see all these options that you have. You understand what I'm saying?
So you don't
Someone
value the
even said
person.
anything
No, they actually
remotely close
overvalue.
to me, just says, all right, you don't want to fuck with me. You're telling me go find the other fish and I'm gone. Like nobody don't gotta tell me nothing like that twice.
Your ego
And
is
one
through the
thing,
roof.
one thing about me,
Yo, Amanda's ego is through the fucking roof, boy.
I don't know. If
I don't
that's an
really think that
ego
has
thing.
anything to do with ego, but like why I'm gonna let you tell me that and I'm gonna sit there and be like,
I'm saying to you
no,
is
but I
like,
want
yo.
you. No. And
I
one
appreciate that you want me. I just be like, all right.
Well,
But then you don't value me when you move that
Exactly.
way.
Value you. I think like you a baddie. You got everything together. You gonna find
You're like-
somebody who wants
You're
you.
like, it's like you giving.
I actually value you more.
like, oh, it's cool that
'Cause-
you like me, but Sally cute too. Like, you know, Sally is a good girl. Like, and Brenda. Like,
First of all, that happened to every guy, right? Because like I think that's an interesting conversation. In my opinion, a dude or a girl that's telling somebody, "Hey, you have more options than me," is really saying that I'm not the person that you want.
You could do
I'm
better than
yeah,
me.
and I'm okay with having you be happier without me. And that is not disrespect. If anything,
That's said so differently.
no, but that's
Alan was so dismissive. Alan was like,
No,
I feel
he's-
like I'm dismissive. It's just like I feel
Rico
like
reworded
I
it
feel like
completely
you're such
different.
a good woman. You need,
But I understood what he was
you
saying.
need
I
like
did.
you need somebody that's gonna commit to that
and I'm not.
life and that nonsense that you want, and I'm not. Right? It's not gonna work for me, but it doesn't degrade or devalue you.
Yeah.
So you are gonna do well. First of all, you got me or I got you. It could be a reverse man or woman, right? And I'm not speaking from me as from my perspective. I'm just saying if a woman told me, like, yo, now that you're a good guy, because that's just disrespectful. Like, yo, you really that dude, but yo, why you fuck with me like that? And I'd be like, nah, because I really fuck with you, because I like you. Nah, but yo, all these girls be on your line, they be hitting you up, they be all over you. Why you fucking with me? I'll be like, nah, I like you. And she's like, nah, you know you could do better. She's trying to let me know she ain't shit.
yeah.
Or
the
she's
way-
trying to let me
I
know
was
she's
about
not
to
gonna
say,
give me
why
what
is
I
this
want.
conversation taking place? Because
Right.
I'm not even letting you know that I know about any bitch hitting your line. Like, if you here with me, you here with me. What is this conversation about? Like, I don't know.
What
My head
happens
cannot
is, like,
fathom.
There are people.
I can't wait for
there
a man
are
to be
people who
30.
are honest and will help you not lower your standards.
Yeah,
About
exactly.
you as a person.
I think it's like phrasing is so important.
That's
I
so
just
true.
learned that because the way Alan is saying it and the way Rico is saying it is being digested two different ways. Like the way Rico is saying it is you can understand that look, you have good intentions for me, right? Like you could be like, you know, I want you to succeed. You have good intent. Alan, you sound like a scammer.
Well, we don't say. Well, I'm not gonna lie. Nobody's gonna say I want you to succeed. We're just gonna be like,
You know what I'm saying?
over here is like what you want doesn't exist here, and I think that you should give somebody else a shot. Like it
Scammer
happens.
is so hilarious.
It happens.
It's giving pimp vibes.
Well, you know they usually have a lot of other options.
No, but what I'm just saying is like it's not always negative. Like fellas, guys, or whoever's listening to this, fellas, just listen to what I'm trying to say. All I'm saying to you is like, don't make yourself playable. Don't let nobody play you. If you see a girl's giving you the run around, the text around, the this around, it's because you're doing one of one. If you could get her and she's an 8, 9, or 10, if you could do it once, you could do it 10 times. You legitimately can. Because if you're not that guy, let me tell you something.
They say once is lucky, 2 times is skill.
Say that one more time.
1 time is lucky, 2 times is skill.
So go out there and find out if you really got the skills.
Thank you.
Really go out there and find out if you got the skills. Because, and ladies, in my opinion, are the ones that get it the worst. A woman who is on a high horse, when she got to walk on that dirt road, you know why they call it a high horse, right? You know why?
Why do they call it?
Because back in the day, the roads were mud.
Yeah.
So when people saw your boot was always clean. That means you never had to walk in mud.
Yep.
So
Or get
that
it
means you were living
splashed.
clean. But when the girl walked in the mud, she was beneath everybody. So that's why they say get off your high horse and put some mud on your boot.
Oh, that's why they say get in the mud.
So I got one.
What?
I got one, right? A sign that you're lowering your standards is when, this is usually for women, but a sign that you're lowering your standards is when you feel as if you need to completely show your body all the time. You always got to show skin. If you always got to show skin to get attention or get, you know, some type of appreciation from men or glorification from men, you have lowered your standards. That is a sign of you lowering your standards because you feel as if you can't do it with the most highest morality and or principality. So if that is the case, I think that, like, obviously, is it easier to get the attention of men when you have less clothes or get the glorification? Yeah, but that's not the one that you want. So
She got attention without with her clothes on.
yeah, can't she get attention without her clothes on?
That should be
I
an
mean,
at the table
she-
challenge. Can you get attention with your clothes on?
Can you get the same amount of likes with your clothes on that you do with your clothes off? That allows me to know.
Well, that wouldn't be a fair test because obviously the creepers of Instagram will flock to a half naked picture, so it won't work. We all know that the half naked picture.
That is not true
going-
because I've seen some girls be naked and get 300 likes, right? So
Do they have the following for more than that?
but what I'm saying is, if you take a girl who's constantly, like, there's girls who don't have any picture showing any skin, it's especially like fashionistas. You know what I'm saying? They be out, their charts is out the roof, and then for me to compare them to, no offense, but an OnlyFans model.
But isn't that a different niche?
But the thing is, if they're getting the same amount of traction, that goes to show that you don't need to do B to get the results of A.
So are you saying that women who show their body, and we're not generalizing, you're saying that what else do you have to offer? What are you saying?
What I'm saying is, if that is your main source of, 50 Cent actually said this is really dope. 50 Cent said something along the lines of, if you have to, if your best asset is your attractiveness, you're going to do some hoe shit. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Shout out to 50.
But sometimes that is your best
That
asset.
I was about to
And-
say.
Audience.
That is
And guess what? And guess what you have to do?
It doesn't have the value that you think, though.
But that's not what you
We're
really
not talking
want
about
either.
value, though. We're talking like maybe that's really your only asset.
if we're
But that's
talking
the- but
about
that is
attention,
low
attraction,
standards.
likes,
Okay.
like it's easy
agree.
for you to get all of that when you're half naked on Instagram most of the time. And whether it's the fashionista or the what do you call it, OnlyFans model, the half naked picture is always going to get the more likes. I feel like when you have the fashionista, they have more things going for themselves. They probably got brands from different companies. They gotta put that shit on. Like, that's what these Instagram pages are about. That OnlyFans model, she gotta do that shit. Like, she has to.
But she
you
chose
agree
to.
with it.
She chose to. I feel like I don't want to speak too much like
No, speak
on
too
like
much.
low standards when it comes to that, because that's their lane. Like that's
But that's the lane you choose, right?
that
like,
is the lane they choose.
example-
I'm not
It's a
saying
low
that.
standard lane.
exactly, with low frequencies
Low frequency.
and
vibration.
low vibrations and low vibration attracting. Like you attract
You're
the
also
low vibration
attracting things
people.
on the lowest vibration.
I mean, we've had people come on
Should we?
and
Right. We've had people come
and
on
they don't believe it's low standards. They don't believe it's low vibration.
and this is a no judgment zone.
It is a no judgment zone.
We've literally had a
It's a-
segment.
it's also
and this is a
Honesty at the table too.
Yeah, but
So-
I feel like, like sometimes women are like, I'm a very sexual person by nature. I believe in nudity. I don't believe in clothing. I think like we can't put a broad stroke and say that all women who, show their bodies have low standards. And
but let's go to another one, right?
I could-
I'm gonna tell you. Go ahead.
Because I could be like, well, if we like, the thing is, nobody's saying all, right?
Right.
But the reality is, we have a blatant prime example with Sukiana of her, how she talks, carry herself, and what she has represented, and the outcomes that she has had on numerous occasions with different men. You had low vibrational outcomes numerous times in different settings because that's what you're attracting. But then again, that's not what you want. So if that's the case, that's when I believe that it becomes a sense of lowering your standard. Now, I think the more important question is, should you lower your standard for success, right?
That's a great question.
Like, because if we go in full circle, the woman that was waiting 8 hours for you to come home, or the guy who's waiting eight hours for the girl to come home, I said specifically for men, they usually give that girl the ring. So to some women, she's lowering her standards, but she gets success. For some women who are doing OnlyFans and they're naked, she's lowering her standards, but she's getting success in terms of financial, and maybe even like, her network could be growing as well. So I think that's a more important question if we're going to talk about, what we should consider, low standards or not.
So does the means justify the end for the person?
Do you guys feel a man who uses his money to get women is lowering his standards?
Lowering her standard or
It's
his?
lowering his
standards.
standards. Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
you're putting all your money first. You at the club, you buying the bottles, you paying bills.
Have nothing
I
else.
mean, I'm not wrong with a man paying a woman's bills if that's your woman or if that's that agreement, but you putting that up front. You doing all these things first. And mind you, there's two types of men. There's men who really got that kind of bread and he's still doing it, which I still think is kind of like lowering your standards.
Yeah.
And then there's men who don't got that bread and still doing it.
Those are the worst. Weird.
Well, it's
So,
a difference.
Is a man spending money lowering his standards,
It's
Amanda?
a difference with men being a provider and men using his money as, his only sense of personality. Like if you lead with like, oh yeah, I got this and I got that and I could pay for this for you and don't worry about it. I got this, I got you, blah, blah, blah. You're leading with your money. And I feel like to a lot of women, that's unattractive. And whoever is attracted to that,
for the wrong reason.
you were attracted to that person for the wrong reason, and you're going to end up with a woman that has low standards herself. That's one. Because they only in it for the money, because you've promised them this, that, and the third. So you being okay with you getting into a relationship or you getting into any situation like with money being the only thing you have to offer, that's low standard in itself. Being a provider is different, because if you get into a situation and you like as a man, you're like, okay, well, I'm very interested in this person, so I want to, take care of, the bill when we go on dates, or, I'll give her money for rent, like just because like I love her and you guys are like building a solid situation. That's different. But I feel like leading with money, like, and you're making money your whole personality, that's whack.
So Alan told me this earlier, and he said, if there's 100% of people and we're talking about the top 5%, the top 5% only understand the top 5%, right? And you take that same principle and you apply it to this conversation. Low standards will attract and understand low standards. High standards will attract and understand high standards. Because if you try to lead with your money as your number one asset of substance to a woman with high standards, you're going to be unsuccessful.
Absolutely.
And if a woman who is using her body to get the attention of a man who has higher standards, she will be unsuccessful. So I think that's important to understand when you're in this dating world, about what you're putting out is actually what you're attracting, because that's the only thing that it can attract. Like when you fish, there's certain bait that catch certain fish. It's the same thing when it comes to life and dating. You want to catch, bluefish, you put on a worm. You want to catch a shark, you're going to have to put on a chunk of meat, right? So like the bigger the fish, the more you realistically have to put out there. And that's the best way I could explain it.
Do you think that people who both lead with either money or their body, the reason they have low standards is for them that they have nothing else to offer? Maybe he leads with money because there's nothing else to offer.
I think
That's probably their best thing to offer.
That's their only thing.
it's not their best thing to offer.
It's their only thing.
That's what we're trying to say. It's really not the best thing to offer, because you have to realize money is probably one of the hardest things that is to make in this world, right? I would say about 100% or 99% of people seek money. So if you were able to make yourself a multi-millionaire, you either have to have some kind of intellectual skill, some kind of social skill. You have to have something that matters, right? That skill got you to what you have, but you don't use that skill when you're in the dating market. The skill that you're using in the dating market is the outcome of what you have, right? So let's say Hundo over here. Hundo works out, right? Let's say he works out and this girl's like, yo, I want to rock with you. I want to hang out with you. And he's like, why? And she's like, oh, because you're fit. I want to rock with you. And he's like, I'm fit because I'm disciplined. If you want to rock with me, you have to be a disciplined person. So the outcome is not what you put in up front. It's what the actual groundwork is what you put in up front. It's like, if you have discipline, I could rock with you. So if a guy got a whole lot of money and he's like, look, I'm very social. That's how I got rich. And I read a lot. That's how I got rich. I did these things. That's how I got rich. If you're able to do those things, I could rock with you. But a lot of times people will be like, a woman could be like, I got this body, no surgery, never went to this, never went to that. I work out every day. I eat healthy every day. I do this every day. I know I posted on Instagram, but this is who I am. The guy might be like, damn, you wake up at 6 o'clock every morning. You run for an hour every morning. You do this every day. He's going to be more attracted to that. But in her mind, she's like, no, I got to put the G string while I'm holding my nipples and saying, this is it. So you're given the outcome of something somebody might not even want. So you have to lower your standards from who you really are. Because in reality, you're a high energy person. But the way your high energy is, you don't think people's going to accept your high standards and your high energy. So in order to fit in, you lower your standards as low as you can so people could connect with you.
But the thing about that is people are only going to perceive you for what you put out there. So if you do have high standards somewhere in there, we're not going to know. Like, no one's going to know. If all we see is the nipples and the half naked pictures on Instagram, that's a swipe left. I don't know how the thing goes. Swipe right, swipe left, whatever.
Just actually swipe up now. Just
swipe up next. Like, no one is going to, not no one, but the person who is going to be interested in that version of you is probably not going to be interested in all of the high standards that you do have.
Yeah. And I also want to disagree with Alan. I believe that majority of the men with money or people with money are scam artists and con artists. That's how they got successful. I mean, if you really think about it, in the world where they are meant, in the world, not just America, where people are meant to be part of the 95%, in order to get to that 5%, you got to shake some things that you didn't really want to do. You know what I'm saying? And some people learn how to operate in the gray area very well. So the problem is those men don't create any substance. Very rare are people, well, I'm excluding the people born into money as well. But very rare do you see somebody who made it and kept it, right? Reading, doing the groundwork of building their own personal substance. A lot of times it was, you were an athlete, you gave an idea to somebody, you met somebody and put them two together, which don't really require a lot of actual substance and self work.
But are you talking about self? Like, we're not talking about the people who are athletes and
Yeah.
entertainers, but self-made millionaires in terms of constantly reading and growing and learning. You don't believe they do that?
No, I'm saying that there are people. I think if out of the 5% margin that actually have money, I would say 0.5% of that are those people. So when you look at it, if a dude is leading with his money, it's because he made his money the wrong way.
Mm.
He never made his money of substance or with his substance and with his value. He made his money doing something that he either shouldn't have been doing or he just got a layup. So he never acquired substance and did the groundwork on himself. That's why he can't come up and represent himself on these dates. He doesn't know who he is. He has never did and never was put in that position to do that work. So when he goes out and now he's getting the girl who's just basically willing to do whatever he says or, showcase her body just so she could be in the same room as somebody with money, you have, again, two people with no substance that are clicking up together having no outcomes or no longevity, I should say.